The sound that started it was a soft pop, a champagne cork rolling under the boardroom table right before the spreadsheets updated and everyone saw the red. 40 million gone from projected revenue. Phones buzzing, faces draining. On the other side of the city, I was in a ride share with the window cracked, letting the cold February air slap me awake. I stared at the skyline and thought so. That's what it costs to be told I don't belong in a seat I paid for. My name is Miles Carter. I built a tech company out of a borrowed laptop and a milk crate desk in my dorm code, by client by client, year after year. The kind of story folks like to tack on a magazine cover, first-gen kid, teacher, mom, bus driver, dad, now running an 8-figure payroll and making payroll every 2 weeks like a heartbeat. I wear good suits because they last longer, not because I need to peacock. That morning I had on a navy suit, scuffed boots I love, and a quiet plan to fly from Dallas-Fort Worth to Portland to close a deal that could triple our valuation. I had a first-class ticket on Aerovista. Diamond tier. Seat 1B. Simple. First class for Aerovista, 274. Now boarding, the gate speaker sang. I stepped forward with my pass open. The agent slim-clipped bob nameplate that read, Kara, lifted her eyes without lifting her chin. Coach isn't for another 20 minutes, sir. I'm in first, I said, easy. Miles Carter. 1B. I kept my voice flat. You learn to do that when you know every octave will be interpreted. She took my phone like it might smear. Sir, I'll need a secondary ID. I slid my license over. She held it to the light, flipped it, tapped her keyboard like it owed her money. 2 white guys in vests whisked past with nods and a wrist flick at their screens. Kara didn't blink. Another form of ID, she repeated. That wasn't asked of them. I said no edge, just truth. She pressed something under the counter. Security to gate C18. The man who arrived was Officer Blake Heavybelt Heavier Stare. He angled his body so I had to look up. Problem, he asked, but not to me. This passenger is being uncooperative, Kara said, sounding bored with the word passenger. I held up my pass, my status card, my license. Everything you asked for is here, and I'm recording for the record. Blake put a palm up. Put the phone down, sir. The circle of bystanders did that tilt people do when a storm might break. A woman in a red scarf shifted, then looked away. A man behind me muttered, Weird. I never get asked for 2 IDs, like he was saying it to the air instead of to Kara. 10 minutes. Supervisor call. My corporate card scrutinized. Polite humiliation. The kind that rots your stomach. When they finally waved me through, I walked the jet bridge feeling like every step was a negotiation for air. Inside the plane, a man in a golf shirt, gray hair, relaxed smile was sitting in 1B, my seat. The flight attendant hair in a perfect crown braid met me before I reached him. Mr. Carter, she said, already shaking her head. We reassigned that seat. Full cabin. You're welcome to a premium economy seat, or we can place you on the next flight in 3 hours. You reassigned my seat without telling me system issue, she said with a smile that meant, don't make me say what I'm thinking. I'll take the economy seat, I said. My deal didn't move. The city I'd worked my whole life to sit across from didn't wait. Back in row 23 with my knees grazing the plastic, I breathed. 5 hours of it, the dance of being seen and not seen. Beverage cart stopped twice and glided by. Sorry, forgot you, hold on. Eye contact that slid right off. It's small stuff. Unless it's happening to you for the 1,000th time, then it's the whole ocean. I opened our travel dashboard on my tablet. We'd spent $3.9 million with Aerovista last year. Almost a third of our total travel budget. That was leverage. That was a string I could pull. I typed a subject line to my CFO, Danny, need to talk about travel partners urgent. When we landed, Portland felt like a stage I'd walked onto late. I hustled straight to the hotel suite where the investors waited, blazer wrinkled tie a little crooked. I'd promised myself, don't bring this in the room. Talk growth, talk strategy, be the guy they flew here to see. 10 minutes into the deck, I saw the phones light up around the table, heads dipping. And then one of the partners, a blunt man named Witt, turned his screen toward me. There I was, grainy at gate C18, saying, I believe I'm being discriminated against, while Kara reached below her counter and Blake blocked the way. A stranger's caption. Another day flying while Black Aerovista do better. The views were climbing like a fever. I should have felt exposed. Instead, something settled. I closed the laptop. Look, I said before we go any further, what you're seeing is exactly what made me late today. I'm going to handle it in a way I can stand by when I go home and look my mother in the eye. Silence. Then Aaliyah, the only woman at the table, nodded. Leadership is how you show up when it's not on your schedule. Deal talk resumed. Numbers landed. But when I left, my phone was an alarm: messages from employees, friends, reporters, messages from unknown numbers, saying what you think they say when a black man speaks up in public. Back at the hotel, I dropped my bag and started a war room on speaker. Danny joined first, already in the data. Aerovista's cash cushion is thinner than their PR, says she reported. If we shift our spend quickly, they feel it. Legal, I asked. Our counsel, Jean, clicked in. Recordings help. You've got grounds individual claim complaint to the Department of Transportation. We can file by morning. PR, I said. Our head of comms, Luce, was already typing. If this stays about you getting a bad day, it dies in 2 news cycles. If it becomes about policy patterns and dollars, it has legs. And travel ops, I said. Mo, our travel lead, laughed without humor. I've got 3 coordinators at other companies in my texts already. They saw the video. They want to talk. I stared at the carpet beige swirls like a hotel trying to be a cloud. Okay, I said. We're not making a speech. We're going to build something. I called people I've known since the days we split a burger to make rent. CEOs who looked like me and some who didn't, but had scars of their own. How much do you spend with Aerovista? I asked straight. What would it take to move that spend 2 days? 3. By midnight, we had a Zoom set with 13 companies and a loose agenda with sharp edges. In the morning, my phone kept vibrating on the dresser. News alerts, then a statement from Aerovista that sounded like it had been damp mopped from a template. We regret any inconvenience. We value all customers equally. We will conduct an internal review. The phrase internal review is corporate for please stop looking at us. At 9 a.m., the lobby of our Portland office looked like a reunion. 13 little boxes snapped into a grid: finance, healthcare, entertainment, retail, tech faces I knew from late-night panels and early morning flights. I told them the truth. I can sue, I said. I can take a check, post a quote, and fly away. Or we can use the only language that makes a boardroom lean forward: money. We talked playbook. Jean laid out legal options, not to punish, but to pry open the door to reform. Luz outlined a media plan, not to drag, but to document. Mo had the switch: a booking tool swap that could move corporate accounts in 48 hours without losing a single itinerary. How much do we represent together? Someone asked. Danny dropped a slide. 45 million annually. That's almost 10% of Aerovista's revenue, more of their corporate contracts. And they're already wobbly. The decision didn't feel like a march, it felt like a breath everyone had been holding. One by one, they said yes. Not to a boycott for the cameras, but to a coordinated change in where we put our dollars, with an open letter and a list of demands that weren't about apology. They were about policy, transparent complaint, tracking, independent oversight training with teeth hiring, and promotion goals with timelines and public reporting. No more "we value diversity" posters without numbers behind them. By lunch, we had a name: the Executive Accountability Network. Not catchy, just clear. Aerovista's CEO, Graham Lowell, asked for a meeting that afternoon. Neutral Ground, a steakhouse in downtown Dallas with a lot of wood paneling and the kind of servers who call everyone sir. He arrived 15 minutes late with his PR lead and a lawyer whose smile had no temperature. Miles, he said, like we were golfers running into each other at the club. Tough morning, huh? Let's clear it up. He slid a folder across the table like it was a gift. Lifetime platinum, $1 million a check for your inconvenience, and a request for confidentiality that would gag a choir. I didn't touch the folder. Graham, I said, tell me exactly what you're apologizing for. For the misunderstanding at the gate, he said, voice smooth. For any perception. Was it a misunderstanding when your agent asked me for 2 IDs and nobody else I asked? Was it a perception when security was called because I asked why? He inhaled the kind of slow inhale men do when they wish you'd go back to the part where you were grateful. We transport tens of thousands daily, he said. Sometimes procedures get applied unevenly. And when that unevenness follows the same lines I said quietly across time and faces, it isn't an accident, it's a system. He leaned in. Miles, you're one customer, an important one. But we can't redesign corporate governance because social media's on fire. I set a small recorder on the table. Texas is one-party consent, I said. We're both on the record. A thin crack flickered in his eyes. The lawyer's smile sharpened. This is a generous offer, she said, tapping